My whole life I've been gaming. I remember back to that first Christmas in 1998 when I got my first console, the Nintendo 64. My eyes lit up with a glow as bright as the Christmas lights, and I could not contain my excitement as I peeled back the wrapping paper to reveal my first steps into this awesome hobby of yours and mine, gaming. Ever since then, I have owned almost every console close to its release date. First, the N64, then the PS1, PS2, Xbox, yeah, just Xbox before we added original to the name, then the PS3 after that, then because I couldn't spend 1 minute away from these worlds and experiences I had grown to love and get lost in, I owned some handhelds, the Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, the Nintendo 30's, the legendary Xbox 360, the Xbox One, PS4, and now the Series X, and more recently, I have joined the masterclass of PC gaming. You get the picture. With so many games from RPG, FPS, action-adventure titles like God of War, and many other genres in my list of experiences I have enjoyed, I can confidently say I'm vetted in the world of gaming we all enjoy, except maybe RTS games. You guys are a different breed. I recently turned the big 3-0, which in my book is the last major hoorah milestone moment of aging. Because let's all be honest, who looks forward to 40 or 50 after that, am I right? At least 30 is the new 20 nowadays though, if you know you know. Not to say the elder gamers aren't riding with this too. Hell, even I played some Atari and some older games before my time because of my love for it all, but something has shifted. Something's missing. Despite a vast and endless catalog of games to try out and lots of different avenues of gaming like conventions, the cosplay scene, which I am not brave enough or crafty enough to attempt, but I thoroughly appreciate the hard work that goes into it, esports, and the overall industry that gaming has become. Something is still missing, and I don't know if that is due to something inside of me, or the state of gaming as a whole, or the endless battle royale hero shooters that have their moments but ultimately have lost their charm, or these half-baked games that come out prematurely, and even absolute flops that have left gamers massively disappointed like Anthem or games like Redfall and the like. I guess gaming feels diluted in a way. Gone are the days of imaginative characters, compelling plots and storytelling, exciting and innovative game mechanics, and all those little details that made us fall in love with the worlds and experiences of our favorite games. Or so it seems. The indie game scene is thriving and in some ways better than these major corpo developers who have lost sight of the kid that can't stop thinking about that new game release to the point that they're itching to play it so bad that it even affects their focus at school or other areas of life. Wait, that's still me. Needless to say, gaming is not dead despite those downfalls. I'm just saying, something has changed. I think ultimately, it's a mix of the culture of gaming shifting from local co-op with your squad going through the Halo 3 campaign on Legendary, or even the thrill of COD Zombies with your online squad in the Xbox 360 days with Call of Duty World at War, or the focus being on single-player narratives that start off with the right pacing of character introduction, moving into the plot thickening and gripping your attention through to the climactic moment where you know the game is half over, so you stretch out the game as long as you can by doing the side missions and all the extras, because once it's over, it's over. I think of Assassin's Creed 2 and the whole Ezio Auditore da Firenze trilogy for myself. I feel pressured to join the masses in competitive multiplayer, which I also enjoy and got more than my fill of in my teens and even early 20s. Luckily, I still have the time to play as much as I want. I make the time. But gone are the days of hunching over as I swerve and battle my way through the map to get that guy who's killed me 4 times in a row, and I'm determined to end his streak. And gone are the days of caring about my KD ratio. Yeah, I was that guy. Remember when your KD ratio on Call of Duty determined your worth as a gamer? And going negative was worse than spilling freshly made chocolate milk all over the table at your grandma's house. God forbid you have the inevitable bad match, or the other players just simply put, better than you at the game, as hard as it is to admit. I find myself returning to the roots of gaming that made me fall in love in the first place, flipping through the shelves at GameStop, trying to pick a game that jumps out at me simply based on the box art alone. That's how I found Assassin's Creed 1 and got hooked. Taking a gamble on games that I have no clue about and not getting stuck in the habitual formula of looking at my backlog of games to play just to boot up COD or whatever multiplayer game I am binge matching through at the time. It takes some internal effort and intention to hit that button on that game you usually don't go to, but when I get that game going and say, screw it, let's just go with this one, To my surprise, I feel liberated, and oftentimes I find myself enjoying the experience and spend far more meaningful time with the game than I would just blasting through the enemy players in a competitive match to grind levels or unlocks. Don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place for that kind of thrill, but I miss the days when multiplayer was the thing you did on the side after you played through the main story to the end. It was there to enhance the game and bring some extra game time to the game after you beat it, and even the matches you played were these fun little battles with other real players, like a kid in the sandbox playing toy soldiers with the other kid. I find myself going back to older games even if the graphics aren't good or if they are dated by today's standards. The games from then still grip my attention and get me invested not only in the worlds but also in the characters and in the choices that you make in the game. It felt meaningful with the outcomes of some characters in games like Halo Combat Evolved when we lost Commander Keyes to the Flood. I remember when I saw him encased within the Flood's grotesque cocoon thingy. I felt this dread and remorse and futility in myself. It even made the Flood feel more threatening than the Covenant, which was a small detail built into the gameplay narrative. It's that meaningful connection to games that I miss, and I think by focusing on new single-player experiences and even playing old games, that joy can be found again, and we could step away from this programmed algorithmic approach to our games that have, in my opinion, oversaturated and diluted what gaming used to be, for me at least. So, here's to building a backlog of classics and new games that we might overlook as they shine within a sea of gray. If you have listened to me this far, I want to thank you for being a real one, and I would love to hear what kind of games come to mind for you, or games that you're currently playing. No wrong answers. Until next time.